Today we're going to talk about brainstorming strategies. Basically, how do I get writing? Very often, writing is challenging, and the most challenging part of writing for many of us is just getting started. Thinking about the topic that you want to write about, developing ideas for your topic, and deepening the understanding of your topic. If you think about these, and you think about the natural way that we think, which is kind of like a storm, right? So ideas are often floating around in our head, and they're kind of often a storm. And a good writer will take that energy from the storm and develop it into written words. So what if you're drawing a blank? You know, you're just feeling blank. There's nothing that comes to mind. Think about this like a dust storm. Brainstorming will whip up some of those thoughts that you have just sitting there, and they will get the inspiration moving again. What if you have too much to write about? It's like chaos in your brain, and your writing just needs some order. In this case, brainstorming forces that mental chaos and random thoughts onto the page. It gives you concrete words or ideas in order that you can arrange into writing. Let's talk about some different brainstorming techniques. First, let's talk about free writing. When you free write, your ideas flow. You put pen to paper or you put fingers to keyboard and you just write whatever comes to mind. You don't think about how things are spelled or the way they look or if there's the right punctuation. You just write. And you can write anything down. If you're really stuck, write the list of your family names, but you just keep writing. One technique is to set a timer. And while you have that timer going, you are just writing. Nothing else is happening. And then after that, you can go back and look at your page and read over your text. And there'll be things that don't fit into what you need to write, but that's okay because you have started writing. Another one is listing and bulleting. Listing and bulleting works best when you have a topic, a particular thing you need to write about. You can base your topic in your writing on the general idea of what needs to be written or what needs to be thought about or what needs to be researched or learned. If your general assignment is to write about the change in inventions over time and your specific thesis claims that 20th century presented a large number of inventions to advance U.S. society by improving upon the status of 19th century society, you could brainstorm different lists that ensure you are covering your topics and that your thesis will be easier to prove. Another brainstorming technique I'd like to talk about, one of my favorites, is webbing. We also might call it clustering or mapping. This is where you write different terms or phrases on a piece of paper, and then you go back and you link these ideas, these terms, these phrases together. You can often use a large piece of paper, a whiteboard, a chalkboard, a computer program. This is one in particular that I like. Bubble US is a website that will help with different brainstorming techniques. To explore this, go to bubbl.us. It's free just to look around, and perhaps you'll find something in here that you want to use in your own brainstorming if paper and pencil isn't something that is particularly exciting to you. Here is a video that will help you see what webbing looks like.
With webbing, your goal is to come up with as many ideas about a concept as possible in a limited amount of time, say 5 to 7 minutes. Say you're taking bioethics. Your professor assigns a paper on whether physician-assisted suicide should be legal. You have to take a position and support it using what you have learned in class. You begin to think. Maybe you can just start with the word legal. How do we make laws? Okay, time's up. Now you need to figure out how all of these ideas relate to each other. Well, these ideas are all related to laws, and here you get more specific talking about laws related to physician-assisted suicide. The last group of ideas is about ethics, and specifically utilitarianism. Because you've become interested in utilitarianism, and because it is one of the key theories covered in class, you conclude that you'll use it as the main focus for your argument.
Another brainstorming technique that I really particularly like to talk about are journalistic questions. These are the big 6. Journalists often rely on these questions when they research a story. These are who, what, when, where, why, and how. You want to write each question on a sheet of paper, leaving space between them, and then just start adding sentences and phrases and words that fit in the questions, that answer these different questions. You'll see that they reveal your thinking and often lead then to putting together an essay or a story or whatever you might be working on. The last one I wanted to talk about today is purpose and audience. So this is where you think about, what is the purpose of your writing? What are you trying to do? Think about the verbs that capture your intent. Are you trying to inform? Are you trying to persuade? Are you trying to educate? Are you trying to get information to your audience? And how are you trying to do that? What is the purpose? The other question to ask is, who is your audience? Just start writing down ideas about who you're trying to write to. Are you writing to fellow students? Are you writing to a workplace situation? Are you writing to a boss? Are you writing to your parents? Are you writing to the community at large? What do they need to know? What do they already know? These are things that help you in brainstorming. So now that you've seen different ways to brainstorm, take the next step and start working on this. You're going to do this for the week in several different ways. So refer back to this PowerPoint should you need to.